Well, hello and welcome to the Triple A's plus Miss M. As you can see, we do have an A on the panel. We have Angry Army Vet in the house. She's about to give us some real insights into how we need to move. Welcome, beautiful soul. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for showing up and showing out. All right. So, this show is definitely dedicated, as you can see, as what we talked about is that, hey, when we cut experience, look what happens. And we're going to definitely do a deep dive into experience. So, Angry Army Vet, it's time for you to take over.
All right. August, if you have that first clip, we'll start off with that and then talk about it on the backside.
Sounds like a plan. We'll go ahead and play that for you.
Authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members, ensuring you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best.
You know what absolutely blows my mind? Pete Hegseth sat down in the Secretary of Defense's office, turned on the camera, looked directly into it, and decided that this was the most important message that he had for America's troops. Not anything about the new forever war in Iran, not about the troops who've been killed, not the failures that put them there, not the veterans who are about to lose benefits, but low testosterone. I'm going to say something that apparently nobody in this administration understands. Military readiness, or as Hegseth likes to dumb it down to, lethality, isn't built through this performative Maha and Joe Rogan masculinity bullshit. It's built by actually protecting your troops, by stopping outbreaks of preventable disease, by listening to intelligence that warns that your troops are within range of the enemy, by giving them the appropriate equipment to keep them safe from enemy fire, by making sure that they come home alive. We just had our 14th combat death from the Iran conflict. And I'm not sure that anyone even knows that because ICE is murdering people here in the United States. So, to be totally fair, I don't know if people have the mental bandwidth to keep track of what's going on. So, let's rewind. We'll start with Whiskey Pete and the flu. Remember when Pete Hegseth made flu shots optional because he said that mandatory vaccination violated medical autonomy? Well, according to reporting from the New York Times, nearly 160 Air Force trainees got sick in just one outbreak. And that was a month ago. That meant that training had to be disrupted, costing American taxpayers who knows how much money. And the Air Force had to reverse course at that installation and require flu shots again. One young Air Force trainee died after becoming ill. The outbreak occurred immediately after the vaccination policy changed because of Hegseth. That isn't making anyone tough or increasing lethality. It's literally taking troops off of duty. Now let's fast forward a few weeks. The Washington Post just published an exclusive that should make every veteran absolutely furious. Troops who survived the initial Iranian drone strikes in Kuwait after Trump and Hegseth kicked off this illegal war, those soldiers say that commanders ignored intelligence assessments warning that their base was vulnerable and a likely Iranian target. 6 Americans died. More than 30 were wounded. And those soldiers told the Post that they're terrified that nobody is going to be held accountable. Families of troops at this and other bases that were struck throughout the region have reported that Hegseth is having the DoD classify serious injuries from enemy fire as minor. Now, let me read this reporting directly from CBS so I get it exactly right. Chief Behrman was one of more than 20 hurt in the deadliest strike of the conflict on American soldiers and the worst attack on American troops since 2021. The Behrmans are among several survivors and their families who told CBS News that they weren't being treated by the military as combat casualties for reasons that they could not understand. In several cases, injured service members said that they had been cleared for duty, but that duty involves active orders to recuperate from injuries in specialized soldier recovery units. Sergeant First Class Hicks also suffered severe shrapnel wounds from the blast and underwent multiple emergency surgeries at a Kuwaiti hospital. He said that his wife was told by an Army official after the strike that his injuries were, quote, minor. And here's what really pushes me over the edge. While Hegseth is making videos about hormones, Republicans in Congress are trying to cut disability compensation for today's troops, the ones in combat right now. Mike Bost, the chairman of the House Veterans Affairs Committee, is pushing legislation that would slash compensation for conditions that today's service members are actually going to come home with, like tinnitus, the ringing in my ears that I have because I was a forward observer whose job was literally blow stuff up, and because I was in a mechanized infantry unit that rolled around in training and while deployed in the loudest conditions that you can imagine. That's a lifetime condition. I deal with it every day, and it will never go away. If you're around artillery, mortars, missile impacts, drone explosions, those are exactly the kinds of injuries that you see. And Bost is trying to cut disability compensation for sleep apnea, a disruption in breathing while you sleep. That is more common in veterans than in the general population, and it can cause all sorts of additional health problems. And it worsens your quality of life. And on that issue specifically, here's the irony. Testosterone therapy is a legitimate treatment for people who need it. Under a doctor's supervision, it can be incredibly effective. But one recognized side effect is that it can worsen or unmask sleep apnea. So on the one hand, the administration wants to make a national announcement about expanding testosterone screening, while congressional Republicans are simultaneously trying to reduce disability compensation for one of the medical conditions that can require lifelong treatment and can, in some patients, be affected by testosterone therapy. Do you not see how disconnected this is, Pete? You and your Republican friends in Congress seem to be incapable of looking at the whole service member or veteran. You're just acting like idiots to score points on social media with people who don't actually care about troops or veterans or military families, people who think this is all a game. And while all of this is happening, Mike Bost is trying to punish veterans of foreign wars, not because they did anything wrong, but because they opposed his bill. He's trying to strip the VFW of its ability to help veterans navigate VA disability claims. Think about that. One of America's oldest veterans organizations speaks up for veterans, and instead of fixing the bill, Mike Bost tries to get Trump's VA to retaliate against veteran advocates. As a combat veteran with nearly 2 decades of experience in DoD and VA policy, this is beyond infuriating. I deployed to a war based on lies where politicians insisted everything was under control. Meanwhile, the people actually doing the fighting paid the price for decisions made thousands of miles away. The uniforms evolve, the wars change, the excuses change, but the patterns don't. So when Pete Hegseth walks into the Pentagon briefing room or sits behind the secretary's desk and tells America's troops that the priority, the number one priority for the DoD is low T, I don't hear leadership. I hear a distraction. Because if your troops are dying after intelligence warnings are ignored, if recruits are getting sick after preventable policy failures, if veterans are facing benefit cuts, those are the issues worthy of a message from the Secretary of Defense. Everything else can wait. Because leadership isn't about helping soldiers look tougher. It's about making sure that they survive long enough to become veterans. And once they do, keeping the promises made to them, not cutting the benefits that they earned or lying to their families about what happened overseas.
Back over to you, Alexis. Angry
All
Army
right.
Vet?
You're fine. If you could pull up that first initial poster, August.
Absolutely.
And we're going to roll into readiness, and everything that he talked about directly is going to affect readiness in your military units, in military everything. And this is just a brief description of what that readiness will affect and what goes into readiness. Readiness is not just weapons and bodies and soldiers. It encompasses everything that is here on this slide. Keep in mind, in 2025, when this regime came into office, they removed senior leadership, key parts of DoD that were the checks and balances for service members. They removed them, and then they replaced them with, I guess you could say, sycophants, or people that they wanted to be in those positions that would bend to their will, unfortunately. that's going to directly affect readiness, and that's also going to cause service members to not report EO complaints, sexual harassment, sexual assault complaints, and that directly affects morale and trust.
So
Um,
explain to
So
us,
mhm,
take a
does
pause for a second. I want to
mhm,
ask you a question. You said
mhm.
EO, and when you say EO, what is EO referring to
Equal
for the
opportunity.
novice? Okay, want to make
Equal
sure that we
opportunity.
all. All right,
uh,
hun.
and my
Mhm. Yeah.
question is,
Mhm.
what does testosterone have to do with readiness? Does it really have to do something with readiness? Is it that important that he brought it up?
No, it is not. No, there's nothing wrong with service members' testosterone. And when I first saw his video of he was going to allow male service members to uh, over the age, I think you have to be 30 years of age to be it's mandatory for you to be tested if you're 30 years old. But if you are younger than 30 years old, then you can voluntarily be tested for low T. And that just screams to me uh, that you're going to have male soldiers hopped up on testosterone. This is already a male dominated military. And then on top of that, all the other supplements that service members take just to get through their day to day, pre-workouts, supplements for lean mass, things like that, mixing that with testosterone. I think I think this is a recipe for absolute disaster. And it's very, very concerning for me as someone who was a victims advocate for service members that were victims of sexual harassment and assault, that I
And it
feel
has.
like, go ahead, August. I'm sorry.
I just want to jump in. Doesn't it have the potential to have friendly fire on each other? Because when you have all that energy moving, I'm just going to call it that.
Mhm.
Their urges can be very explicit. Okay. And then now you're promoting this drug to get their libidos even going more, for a lack of
I,
a better word.
yeah, I think that it is going to more so what I think it's going to do, to your point, I think it's going to create more mistakes. I think it's going to, because you have all of this running through your body and you're hopped up on whatever, I think it's going to leave room for a lot of mistakes, a lot of, unfortunately, misfires with weapons, a lot of mistakes with working with equipment in your motor pools, which is where all military equipment is kept, as far as your tanks, your Humvees, all of that thing, all of those things. I think it is going to be an absolute recipe for disaster. And sexual assault numbers are already high per 2024. They purposely have not released at as of yesterday, when I kind of ran the numbers. As of yesterday, they have not released the numbers for 2025 and 2026. That gives me major pause, because you are not being transparent as far as what is going on within the ranks with service members. This key things that I wanted to also point out on here, with readiness, with him uplifting that vaccine mandate. We were always I got out of I'm a recent veteran. I got out in 2023. We every year had to get a flu shot. Unless you had a religious exemption, you had to get a flu shot, or unless you were pregnant, you had to get a flu shot. What that does is it keeps the force safe, and it keeps the force medically ready for whatever. If you have, per the numbers, 284 soldiers down how are they ready to mobilize or deploy? They're not. They're sick. That directly affects your readiness as a whole. So,
Let's take a pause on
mhm,
that one. Let's
mhm.
really, really talk about that. Now, they're not giving out vaccines, and
Making it optional.
y- you're in close quarters with one another,
Hmm.
and you have to go to the same latrine, and the latrine is
Yes,
not
ma'am.
being, huh?
Yes, yes. Hmm.
And it's not being cleaned like every 5 minutes. You're touching the sinks, and this. Talk to me about that.
Again another Hegseth recipe for disaster. When I was in basic training, I'm gonna give away my age. I joined the military in 2002. When I was in basic training, it was co-ed. Females were on one part of the barracks on one floor, and then males were on the next floor all together. I was in a room with 60 other females. So just imagine, because this actually happened at Lakeland Air Force Base, which is a joint Air Force base. A lot
Whoa.
of people don't, in San Antonio. It actually is specifically the Army's major medical Air Force, not Air Force, but medical military base. But they also train uh, other countries' military and medical things, as well as the Air Force and other branches. So that's the quick synopsis on that. But yeah, I was in a bay in barracks with 60 other females. Now just imagine if none of us had to be vaccinated.
Mm-mm. I don't want
All
to
of us,
imagine.
yeah, all of us would have been sick. Every last one of us, no
Absolutely.
matter how clean we
Absolutely.
were. And these service members, that's exactly what happened. They're in
And
close quarters. It's bound to happen.
so
And
let's take a
then
break
they
real
can be
quickly and welcome everybody to the show. Guys, tonight's show is When We Cut Experience. Look what happened. So, Angry Army Vet is doing a deep dive into the military and these cuts, not only cuts, but also just the unsanitized piece of it. She's really deep diving into. I just want to highlight what Jazzy Renee just finished saying. Jazzy, you said I had to attend a essay awareness meeting when you were on base, and you remember the speaker thinking, what did the speaker do? Oh, talking about how bad it was, and shockingly, there are a large number of male essay events. Whoa! And now he wants to
Ja-
promote
yeah. Go ahead. I'm
that
sorry.
part. Go ahead.
Mhm. Jazzy is 100% correct. It's
Whoa!
not just females. Male soldiers are victims as well. Um,
I'm glad you bringing that up because I
mhm.
think a lot of people only think it's one way, and it's not.
It is not, unfortunately. I wish you have to understand too. This is the military or the DoD is an agency, right? But every branch is like an entity within an entity. So the Army is a branch of DoD. The Air Force is a branch of DoD, so on and so forth. It's very telling when a entity has to have its own EO department. They have to have their own sexual harassment and assault department. That is an indicator that there's a problem.
Yes.
So it's more prevalent than I would have ever wanted it to be.
What's the percentage? Do you recall?
If you want to go to the next slide, Miss August,
Absolutely.
it's actually on there.
Okay.
So I want to highlight everything on here directly affects military readiness. But to our point, FY 2024 sexual assault reports were 8,195.
What?
Yes.
That's look. That's
But
8,190 too many.
mhm, that is heartbreaking for me, because I've sat with victims, male and female, and been with them through the whole entire process, including the investigation. And it just seems like we're going backwards. And if you look in the next block, 2025, 2026, not yet released. So that is
And
very,
it's not going
very,
to be released. Let's just be
no,
honest.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's very concerning. If the numbers were bad in 2024, I truly believe that unfortunately they are even worse in 2025 and 2026. And I remember Momo talking about transparency the other on one of the shows. I believe it was last week or earlier this week. Unfortunately, the military is not obligated to be transparent, although they can be, but they don't have to be. Their only obligation is to be transparent to the commander in chief, Congress, and the Senate. That is all.
Where they get paid. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is because they are the ones who control their budget. So yeah,
Let's take a pause and read what Jazzy Renee's saying. Go ahead.
I had a friend in high school. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mama. Okay. I had a friend in high school who kept getting pregnant by a sailor, and the sailor chased me and my friend saying he was going to essay us. We were like 16. Oh my gosh. Jazzy, can you expound on that? Kept getting pregnant by a sailor? That's concerning, but I'm sorry that happened to you. And unfortunately, because he was a sailor and he probably wasn't from there and probably was just stationed there, he probably just could have got back on a boat and left. And then what? What you gonna do?
Wow, that's crazy.
And I don't know if you all saw the report, the clip that Jesse Waters put out about females and at call whatever he said. Basically, when Navy ships dock, women, the Asian women better be careful because they're gonna be hopped up on testosterone. So we're laughing about women being raped.
That was so disgusting.
It was absolutely disgusting. And to also add to, sexual assault, the trauma of sexual assault, not only does it affect obviously the service member, it affects their battle buddies around them, who they're close to. It affects that morale of that service member. They may end their military career early because they just cannot anymore. And that's not fair to them. And that's not fair to the overall greater, mission. And a lot of people who join the military, myself included, I come from a single parent. I was 18 years old, wasn't ready to go to college yet. I had been accepted to TSU, Morris Brown when they had accreditation, and Alabama State, but I just wasn't ready to go to school yet. And I was like, I think I want to go into the military, or I'm going to go in law enforcement. And my choice was the military. And I came from nothing. I was a poor kid, and recruiters, unfortunately, they target, poorer communities, on purpose because the military offers, free health care, a constant paycheck, opportunity to see the world on someone else's dime, gives you skills to last you for a lifetime, and also the camaraderie in the military family that comes with it. A lot of us did not have that. I'm not close to my family, and the military became my family. And I will forever be grateful for the military for giving me that. But it wasn't always unicorns, fairies, and glitter whatsoever. There were many days where it was hard, especially being a female in the military, and especially being a Black female in the military. It was difficult. I think I shared with you all one, there were many a times where I cried in my car, but I got up the next day and I put that uniform back on and I did it again. And I think that my story is not unique whatsoever. I think that a lot of females, even females not of color, go through that on a daily basis, unfortunately, in the military. And by this administration and how they are removing senior leadership, and also removing females in senior leadership, I'm sure it's even harder and worse for them. And my heart goes out to them.
Well, we just want to stop right now and thank you and anyone else that's out there that's either lived on the base because of your family, your parents were there. Thank you for your service, because without you, we wouldn't be where we are today. And that is the truth. So thank you for being on that wall for us.
Thank you. And if anybody wants some of this information after the show, just contact me. But all of these two slides, they both go into detail about military readiness and everything that directly affects military readiness. And now I kind of want to move into, unfortunately, the service members that have been KIA. That directly, again, affects readiness. Remember, the military is typically, if you're in a good unit, you're a family, right? And when a service member is killed traumatically, and they were here one day and gone the next, and they were just doing their job, that is traumatizing to the rest of the unit, especially the ones, obviously, that worked with them day to day, and especially the ones that they were, closest to within that unit framework. And that naturally, again, it affects their morale. It affects, am I going to be next? Am I, do I really want to be doing this job because such and such was just killed? All of this plays into military readiness. It's not just low T. Okay, don't let Hegseth gaslight you. But Ms. August, you can play that next slide about the service members who were unfortunately killed.
The president just admitted his own Pentagon is breaking the law, and it's so much worse than it sounds.
We had a very sad day yesterday. I went to Dover. 4 great American patriots killed. That's 18 in 2 wars, and 1 is too many.
Quick background. We've been at war with Iran since late February. In April, Trump declared a ceasefire, and Hegseth declared victory. Then the ceasefire collapsed, and in the last 2 weeks, Iran hit at least 9 American military sites, killing 4 of our soldiers. Their names are Sergeant Angel Rampersad, Lieutenant Tyler Feehan, Private Isabella Gonzalez, and Sergeant Michael Swinton. On Wednesday, the Pentagon's own website said 18 Americans have died in this war. On Thursday, it said 14. The 4 they erased are the 4 who just came home in flag-draped caskets. Military officials told the New York Times they were removed because they died after the ceasefire. The Pentagon spokesman said no, it was just, and I'm not even kidding here, temporary data disruptions, a glitch that deleted exactly the 4 most inconvenient deaths in the entire war. Why inconvenient? Federal law says after 90 days of military action, Congress has to authorize the war or it ends. We blew past that deadline months ago, and Congress never authorized a damn thing. So the administration invented a theory no president in 50 years has tried. They claim this isn't one war, it's two. Iran War I ended with the April ceasefire, and now we're in Iran War II, a totally separate war with the same enemy, the same bases, and the same soldiers dying. And a brand new war means a fresh 90 days before they need permission again. And if you think I'm exaggerating, go back to that clip. Trump said it himself. That's 18 in 2 wars. He endorsed that loophole on camera. Republican Congressman Thomas Massie called it an absurd ruse, and that by going more than 90 days without congressional authorization, the Secretary of War is breaking the law. But here's the trap they built for themselves. Those 4 soldiers died in Iran War II, the war Trump just counted on camera. Except the Pentagon's official list only covers the war that supposedly ended in April, and they won't open the books on a new one. So the 4 names got erased from the only list that exists. On Wednesday, Trump saluted these same 4 caskets at Dover and called them great heroes. The next morning, his Pentagon erased them. 4 families buried their kids this week, and the government says their deaths belong to a war that doesn't exist. Send this to somebody who still thinks this is normal. The president.
Yeah. So just imagine being one of those service members, family members. You know that your service member was killed in action, and then their name is removed as if they didn't exist or it wasn't important. It's already bad enough that you lost your service member traumatically the way that you did, and for them to basically be erased, it's heartbreaking. When a service member dies, whether in combat or stateside, it affects the whole entire military community. And that same military community that surrounds that service member and his family and their family then covers down for that service member's wife or husband, their children. I call them battle buddies. And one of my battles is in the chat. So welcome.
Let us call them out. Who are we?
All right. It is Flex. Let's see.
Hey, Flex
803.
803. Welcome, Flex.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing up, and thank you for your service and being her battle buddy.
Thank you. So I know to this day that there are service members that have passed away during the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Their battle buddies are still showing up at their kids' graduation, their kids' weddings, all the important milestones that their parent is no longer there to be for because they lost their life during combat or stateside. Because always keep in mind that yes, service members die in combat, but we also have service members who are fighting battles of their own that also lose their life that way as well. And we stay strong and we're there for those service members' families until we can't be there for them anymore. It's that important and it's that real.
What can we do to help them to inject the love? Because I feel that we just take you guys for granted. Like, oh, well, it's their jobs. They just have to do it. But it's our men and women. It's our kids. It's our brothers and sisters. It's our family members that are out there. How can we step up a little bit more as this is our voice and we're asking the question?
I would say definitely volunteer. There's so many military organizations that you can donate your time to. Operation Homefront. Let's see. If you're close to a military installation, go to the main office on base and ask, like, what are volunteer opportunities that I can work with service members with. There's such a need to help service members. Keep in mind, service members are not balling now. It's there's a large percentage of service members that are on SNAP and EBT.
Mm-hmm.
So
Call that out again. Just
mhm,
repeat that once
there
again.
are a lot of service members that are on SNAP and EBT.
And he just cut it. So
Yes, yes. And I want to also shout out Flex, a comment that he made. Imagine watching it as a battle buddy. Keep in mind that there are service members who literally watched their battle buddy pass away and die traumatically in front of them. They will carry that for the rest of their life. So again, that affects morale, that affects readiness. Mental health is real, and it's
it
so
really is.
important. It's so important. And
Yeah,
we have to
because I'm
continue.
pretty sure they have remorse. And I'm sorry to cut you,
Mhm,
but I'm
mhm,
pretty sure they're having remorse. Like, how come I survived? Knowing
mhm,
that they not that they would want to
mhm.
die, but they want to save their battle buddy, with everything they have. And I'm just going to comment right now. We have few
Mhm.
people on because we're not gossiping. We're not talking about the BS. We're talking about real life stuff that we need to step in and take care of our vets. And where is everyone? They rather listen to the gossip that's out there. That bothers me because this is educational. This is a part of life. And I'm pretty sure there are a number of people that have served in their household, and you have the audacity not to show up to support this beautiful queen. Back over to you. Like
Um,
and subscribe.
and she said what she said. Um, yeah, we definitely need to support our service members and families. Just coming from a veteran who struggles with PTSD, um, create that safe space for them for them so that they want to talk, so that they want to be open to you. I can't stress that enough. Um, Even if they don't want to talk, still leave that door open. Always leave that door open, and please don't take offense to it that they don't want to talk yet, because eventually they will.
Mm.
They will. They'll once they realize they have a safe space in you, they will talk. And even if it's not you, go to a licensed professional. But please talk to somebody and allow them to talk to you as well.
So we're going to get Andrea to jump in here. Andrea?
Thank you. Well, thank you for your service and all of you out there in the audience that served also. Um, I know PTSD is hard. I've been around people that have suffered from it. I don't think Hexef really understands what he's dealing with, and I think him and Trump are incapable of dealing with the war in Israel or what went on in Gaza. They didn't care about killing all those people. So, what could we do to get rid of those two people? I thought when they went against the Constitution that we would have some, the military backing us, where we could get rid of them or do something. I don't know that we can, but it's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is kind of wishful thinking because that's not how the military operates.
Right.
The military is not you. I mean, we all saw what happened to Major Watson, right? We don't have those same freedoms as you as a civilian does. Once we put that uniform on, once we sign that contract, we kind of give up that freedom to speak out.
Now, has
And
anybody heard about how Major Watson is doing, or is that hush
the
hush now?
the latest and greatest that I of the latest and greatest information that I have about him is he is still confined to a military installation. And he's still kind of like on restriction. He can't really talk, but his spot fund is doing well. And please feel free to donate to that as well, to help with his legal defense. But the last I heard, the Air Force is still doing their investigation.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Leo Goddess to yeah, you are property of the US government. That explains it perfectly.
Okay.
And I know that's difficult for people to understand. Like, you know, like you see red, like, why are you not saying anything? We're not in the position to say anything. We kind of gave that freedom up, unfortunately. All the way down to, you know, our nails, our hair, all of that. So, you know, when I got out, I kind of like, you know, I did my own thing. I love having this freedom now. You know, I can color my hair purple. I can, you know, color my nails any color I want to. I can say what I want to say for the most part within reason. But being in the military, you're not able to do that. So it's a
last question then is when I forgot who it was that said that if the commander had given you an order that was not valid or legal, they said you didn't have to follow that order. So that's not true.
No, you don't have to follow that order. You're not supposed to follow that order. However, and my battles in the chat can chime in as well. If you don't follow that order, even if it's an illegal order, you're still going to face repercussions behind that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
there's going to be retribution behind that.
Yeah, I remember you explaining that to us before, where it's sort of like a catch-22 for them.
Yes.
They tell you not to follow an illegal order, but then once you disobey an order, then you can suffer consequences for doing that.
You don't, and Leo Goddess, you don't be prepared for the consequences. Right. There's gonna be consequences, unfortunately. Even though you're doing the right thing, there's gonna be consequences. So I want to transition into military sacrifice. Because
just before you go over it, I wanted to get Flex in because I'm glad they're our chat is the kind of chat that we get people in, let them, you know, really weigh in on what's going on because this information is for you. And for those that just joined, I'm glad you heard my voice because I was talking about y'all asses. You want to hear gossip, but you don't want to show up for the real stuff. So democracy, thank you for showing up. Connie, thank you for showing up. Go ahead, Flex.
He said that's why the midterm election is so important because we have to take over the House so we can impeach one. Once he's impeached, we can move forward and removing people in other positions.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. That's a good one. Okay, say things go accordingly. People that was sidelined, like there was a lot of military officers sidelined, and some of them did not get their pensions or whatever that's needed. Could they be retroactively fitted back? That's a two-part question. So could they be retroactively monetary, and can they be retroactively come back?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes. Remember, don't ask, don't tell.
Yes.
And when it was repealed, those service members were able to come back into the military, or they were also able to get retro pay from when they were basically wrongfully discharged just because they identified with the LGBTQIA plus community. So absolutely, it can be done. And service members who refuse to follow illegal orders, those court martials, if they should come, or those punishments, if they should come from that, those can be overturned. Everything can be overturned. It's going to be a process, but it can be overturned. All this bad can be overturned if we have the right people in office.
I think that's the best news I have heard in a long time. Can we clap back and like just cheer? Do we get, wait a minute, let me see if I can find a clap on this one. Because come on, guys, we got to celebrate the little wins. These
Yes.
are, I mean, come on. Am I not? Yeah, come on. We got to celebrate the little wins. All right. We'll take it. I know you want to transition. Go ahead, my love. This is very
Okay.
interesting.
In Democracy Jesus, I see your question and I'll answer it at the end. So now I just want to transition into military sacrifice. Although the ultimate sacrifice, obviously, is losing your life, being in the military. But there's also so many other things that military members sacrifice on a day-to-day basis while serving and wearing that uniform and being under that contract. And also, Ms. Anka, to your point earlier, keep in mind the military is under contract. This is not a job where you can say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm giving you my two weeks notice. It's not that. You are under contract. So keep that in mind. But I did an impromptu focus group with some of my battle buddies, some people that I served with directly, and veterans that I have met along the way. These are absolutely wonderful people, great people, and I appreciate them for their service as well as their continued service. Some of them are still serving. Flex 803 is still serving. I think he's got like 30 years at this point. But yeah, but I wanted to get an impromptu focus group with them, and I asked them these two questions. And you all can read through them. And since Flex is in the chat, I'll highlight his. Flex is a currently serving and also is a military veteran. He's in the U.S. Army major. He's a major in the U.S. Army. The two questions that I asked was, what was the biggest sacrifice you feel like you gave up, or that you gave up for the military? What do you feel like you missed because of your military service? He said, definitely would have to say time with my children and family. I miss class reunions, family reunions, birthdays, and a lot of holidays. And what the consensus was throughout this impromptu focus group I did was the major thing was time. And Ms. August, you can go to the next slide. And yeah, it was time. Throughout everything that everybody said, the main thing was time. Remember, if you are on mission, if you are on deployment, somebody dies, the military don't care. If you get to the funeral, you get there. But if you're on mission, the military takes precedent over your family member dying. And this could be your mama, this could be your grandma, this could be whoever. And you may miss that funeral. You may miss the birth of your child. You all of these things above, all the things above. And another one that I would like to highlight, the Army brat. This is actually my daughter. She's 22 years old, but she has, I've been in the military her whole entire life, as well as her dad has been in the military her whole entire life. I think the biggest sacrifice because of military life was giving up stability. Constantly moving meant I wasn't able to build long-term friendships or feel rooted in one community. Looking back, I think one of the biggest sacrifices military families make is giving up stability. It's not the service member. It's not just the service member. It shapes the spouse, the kids, the whole family. And her and I had that conversation, and I acknowledged the harm that, and her dad as well. I acknowledged the harm that our profession and our job may have done to her. I do acknowledge that. And I think she speaks for all military brats who are constantly moving every couple of years. It's very, very hard to be connected in a community and be connected in school and whatnot. And you're just, you got to go, you know, the government tells you where to move and you got to go. It's not an option, you know. So I acknowledge that, and I appreciate everyone who shared their stories with me and took the time out to really tell me what they missed the most. And if you want to, you can play the last video, but if we don't have time, that's okay, Miss August. But basically in the last video, Angry Male Vet talks about how the military, they're continuing to lose the military. And if
morning.
You can
no morning news report today because of technical difficulties. Those technical difficulties were me sleeping. I had an opportunity to get some extra sleep, and I took it. I snatched that biatch. So here I am. And yeah, I was listening to NPR on the way over to the gym, and I wanted to talk about the Iran situation. And I know this is something that's been in background forever, but you know, we're continuing to lose U.S. service members. We're continuing to lose trust. There's, you know, they were talking about the fact that Hegseth hasn't had a press conference since May. And that's not only lack of transparency to the American people, but apparently it is spreading across to allies as well. They didn't know this was going to happen. This was a Trump Netanyahu thing that has now resulted in, you know, 17 dead, likely an 18th as they identify the remains, and hundreds wounded. There were 100 apparently wounded in the last 2 weeks that never really made it to the mainstream media. There have been reports from inside the Pentagon that there has been slow walking of casualty reports, but it's also eroding trust inside the military. There's no clear mission, and there never was, in what Trump and Netanyahu wanted to do. And Hegseth tried to rah-rah out of it, but there's no clear mission, and the people know that. People inside the military know that, and they're watching their brothers and sisters, you know, be killed, and they don't know why. They don't know why. And that's an issue. And so I always talk about how the military does not like Hegseth. They are questioning Trump, and this adds to that. And I want you to understand that it's a mess. And they are following legal orders, but there's a lot of erosion of trust. And that's not good for them. They wanted the military to be completely beholden to them and do whatever they wanted, especially when it came to potential elections and, you know, doing dictator shit. And that is not going the way they wanted. And they're just eroding that potential. Not that I think there ever really was one, but they're eroding that possibility because of their actions and lack of transparency and this fake bravado that is just getting people killed. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes in the military, and I just want you to be aware of that. It's a mess. The Iran war continues to get worse. It will continue to get worse, and it is not going well for this administration and what they're trying to accomplish. So I'll talk more later. All right.
Yeah, that's just sad. Always the question, why? You know, like when we were talking about Nolan Wells and the parents just wanting to know why, what happened, why. I can't even imagine if I had a family member or someone I loved or a child in the military right now, and there's just no real reason why they're there. And so there's no real reason why they are dying, why they are being injured. It's just, it's catastrophic to me.
Oh,
I agree.
talk to me about the lack of transparency.
Unfortunately, they don't have to be transparent. Um,
But they should be transparent to the troops. I can understand civilians. But what
mhm.
about the troops? The troops seem like they don't know what the hell is going on.
It's kind of like, if you have a cheating spouse, I can't tell you the truth because then you're going to start acting funny. So then you're not going to want to come to work. Then you're not going to perform well. So I have to gaslight you. I can't be transparent with you because I still need you to fulfill the mission and still need you to be that body. Cannot be transparent.
Wow.
So, crew, if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. Angry Army Vet, she's going to give you some information that you need to take with you and take it, not only keep it to yourself, pass it on. How we have to lift up our vets. We have to lift up our military. If you have a child in the service, a loved one, a husband, please make sure that you're writing to them. Keep them encouraged because a new dawn is coming. We got to fight for that new dawn. Go ahead, Angry Army Vet.
Um, I guess lastly, I guess I just would say and add on to what you said, if you know a veteran, if you know a service member, especially that's currently serving, um, listen to them, be that voice for them because they can't speak up the way that they probably would like to because they are confined to being in the military and being in a contract. Um, but be that voice for them. That's all I got. I think
So,
that's
our supporters out there, if you have any questions for Angry Army Vet for this show, if there's things that you would like to see more of, please put it in the chat. Hit us up. We do have our emails out there that Mo will definitely share with you. We need to hear from you because guess what? Andrea said it only take one person. Only one. And guess what? You have so many of us right now that have your back. So tell us how you want us to move forward. Please, please. And Angry Army Vet, if we didn't get everything in tonight, you're always welcome because there's so much, not to mention the Army brats, how they feel. I really want to do a deep dive on them. Not to mention the veterans that are not getting their money. The VAs, hospitals are not being attended to like they should. And not to mention just those that are on SNAP. It's so much.
yes. And I will add, I forgot to add this earlier. Um, the first video when he talked about disability claims and them changing the justification behind those service members that are overseas, that is going to directly affect their disability claims. Whether they get disability claims or not, they're going to, unfortunately, even though those service members are young, they're in the military now, they're probably going to have to fight to get their disability claims just because of how the military has classified their injuries, and that is done unfortunately on purpose, so they don't have to pay out.
What?
Wow. Wow.
Ma'am.
What? And you wonder why they flip out. Come on now. You wonder why they go postal.
Yes.
I was gonna ask you about that too. Them erasing like the four people that erased and sort of did this whole reclassification. It's like a new war or whatever. Is that going to affect any of the benefits that would go to their families or anything like that?
It's not going, it should not affect any of the benefits that go to their family. But I don't have a warm and fuzzy about this administration, and they're doing some strange things to purposely reclassify things in a different way that they may not be entitled to certain things. But as far as like insurance and the initial payout and things like that, when a service member passes away, the family will get that. Whoever was on that, so that service member's beneficiary form, that's going to be paid out to them. Now, the like other organizations after that, or even the VA, they may not be eligible how they're classified for other benefits. I hope that makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does make sense. It absolutely makes sense. We're going to definitely have to ask you to come back and do a part three on this because it's so many pieces to it. And I need people to hear that, especially for the vets that are not having a voice, and our channel is our voice and it must be heard, and through you their voices will be heard. I want to thank you for showing up and showing out and showing us who we are and what we can be. To all our viewers and supporters, we are so grateful to have you, and I always have to leave you with a word before we go into Miss Andrea's funny. Water yourself. If you don't know what I mean by that, we want you to be intentional about nourishing yourself. What you pour in, you will pour it out. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit. I need you to remember that. And that's found in Matthew 7 and 18. What you're going to pour in, you need to pour in some love and grace, patience and faith, kindness and discipline, hope and truth, peace, rest, knowledge, strength, and compassion. If you can't pour in for yourself, do it for someone else. Please water yourself. Thank you, Angry Army Vet, for watering us today with this wealth of information. We truly appreciate you being with us. You've always stood strong with us. And go ahead and fix your crown, girl, because it is definitely queen worthy. There you go. Absolutely queen worthy. So, as I did indicate, Miss Andrea wants you guys to smile because life's too short with it. And so, let's close out with this funny. All right? Is that okay with y'all? Talk back to me. Hello? Yes? No? Well, I'm going to play it anyway. How about that?
Yes, yes.
I want to pay the bill. I want to go.
Here's a change.
Excuse me?
Are you the manager?
Hi. Yes.
Yeah, I want to pay. I want to go.
That'll do it.
Here's a change, ma'am.
Excuse me. Are you guys open?
What do you think?
I think I see people eating.
So we're open.
Excuse me. Are you the manager?
Yes.
Why every single time I come in here, there's always a problem? Always.
So why do you keep coming?
Excuse me?
Why do you keep coming if there's a problem?
Because I feel like this established pasta was horrible. What
can you do about this?
I mean, did you decide to know like it was horrible after you swallowed the plate?
I know the owner, and he will be very disappointed. Yeah, the owner, Dan. Yeah, I know him. I got him on speed dial.
So call him.
Excuse me, are you the manager?
Hi, yes I am. How can I help you?
Did you just touch me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's how you communicate this. That's what you did to me. Hi, welcome in. Are we checking in for reservations?
Yes. It's for me?
Okay, well, what's the name of
It's for me.
All right, well, I don't have a reservation under for me. Is there another name?
I'm so sorry. Under Kelly?
Under Kelly? You can follow me.
And with that, we say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Miss Andrea, close us out.
Well, it was very enlightening to listen to you today, and I look forward to part 3.
Momo.
Yeah, it's important that we know how we can support our vets, how we can support our active military. I actually live right around the corner from an Air Force base, so I think I'm gonna do what you said and just go down to the main building and see if there's anything that I can contribute that might help out.
And from my flight deck, I just want to say thank you for watering me. You showed and you gave us words that we can live by, that we can go down and volunteer. We can go and take care of someone. If you had a vet in your life, which I have, my father-in-law definitely served, and that's a whole nother story. His whole platoon died, and he's the only one that survived because he slipped and fell and hit his head. So he was in commissary, and his whole troop went out, and he's the only one that is alive. So he had to live with that survival. But to each and every one of you, thank you for showing up. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and we will do this again. Show up on Saturday because we're sipping in the backyard. So you want to hear the topic for a backyard sip. It's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again, and we love you all.